Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. So they released part 2 of the Raquel Leviss podcast done with Bethenny Frankel. So I again will not put any commentary throughout this video until the very end, and I am still working on my reaction video, which is just a straight reaction with clips, and I will then do a part 2 reaction. Please leave your comments down below about how you feel about this, and I will include those in my reaction video. Alright everybody, I'm gonna not talk as much because people complained my intro was too long, so let's get into it.
Before we get into the reunion, I would like to hear about Scheana and you,
yes.
and then the dog.
Yes.
The dog.
Yes, there's still a lot to unpack here. So Scheana did physically assault me that night, and I have a permanent scar on my eyebrow. And at the moment, I thought I deserved it. That's why I just stood there and let it happen. She pushed me as hard as she could against a brick wall. The back of my head hit the wall pretty hard, and then she socked me in the eye. And I was in shock. She threw my phone in the street and then called Ariana from her phone. And I immediately ran to my phone, and it was a brand new iPhone. So it's like, oh no, is it cracked? But it was fine. I called Tom immediately and I was like, Scheana just punched me in the face. And he was like, oh, I know. I heard her say to Ariana, I just punched that bitch in her face and threw her phone in the street. So it's just nuts that she's doubled down on this narrative that I'm a liar and a cheat, and that I completely fabricated this assault for whatever reason. I don't think that filing a restraining order was out of question, because she was making this like punch emoji on a post that she made with Ariana saying like, I've always got your back. Mm-hmm. And it just, I didn't feel safe. So it's just unfortunate that I've been, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me how I can be assaulted and then still have so much vitriol, and I think,
and still be the villain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you sign up for this? Like, did you sign up for all of this? That's what people will say. She signed, everyone knows what they're getting into. They've seen the show. She signed up for this.
You know what, Bethenny? I really thought that reality TV was going to be fun.
Yeah.
I thought it would be a great experience for me to step out of my comfort zone.
So what I didn't ask you is, how did you feel knowing someone that you thought you were in love with recorded you, and then it ends up on a TV show? I mean, within a cast of a TV show.
I felt very betrayed. I felt like I couldn't trust this person. I felt like my privacy didn't matter to him, and he didn't really give a good excuse besides he wanted me to see it later on to see how beautiful I was. But if he would have asked for permission, I would have said no. When Tom and I were filming at my apartment, after filming got picked back up, I said to Tom, how can I trust you? You filmed me without my consent. And he admitted to it. But then after that scene wrapped, he said, why did you say that? Why did you say that on camera? You made me look bad. And I was like, well, because that's what happened. And like, you know, and he ended up boycotting filming the rest of Scandoval so that he could have editing rights to that scene to take out that specific
He said, I'm
piece.
not filming unless you take that out.
Yes.
I've seen that happen before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that happen.
Yeah.
Wow. Has he gotten the same level of hate that you have for the affair?
I'm not sure. I think he's getting a lot of hate right now, just being pompous and like being around town with a bunch of different girls. But I feel like it's true. The woman does get the short end of the stick.
That makes sense. So Tom owns the bar he owns Schwartz and Tom and then Schwartz and Sandy.
Yes.
So the Bethenny clause is something that was a result of my Skinny Girl deal. And it says that businesses that are showcased on reality shows, that the cast members have to kick up to the network a percentage. So I assume that Bravo profits off of these bars and Lisa Vanderpump's bars. So Tom is a partner in these bars?
Yes, he is.
So he profits off of the marketing that the show provides, and then Bravo profits off of the sales, and everybody was going into these bars. Is he a producer?
He's not technically a producer. He's been on the series from day one, season one. I don't know if I'm even able to disclose this information, but he did tell me during negotiations for season 11 that he was offered a producer credit for season 11.
Oh, okay.
So I think he was being rewarded for the Scandoval of it all.
Wow.
And to me, that's just kind of gross because it makes me skeptical. Like, was this really just something that was fabricated for this end result?
You know, it sounds like Lisa Vanderpump is profiting, Bravo's profiting, Annie Cohen's definitely profiting, Tom is profiting, Ariana is profiting. So, and you're in a deficit, you're in debt. Interesting. And is Lisa Vanderpump in a position to protect you guys within this place you're working? Like, are you supposed to feel like someone's there to protect you, that there's someone to go to, a supervisor, a manager, a boss?
There really isn't anybody that's a safe place to go to. I don't think that anybody on that show has my best interest at heart. So it's hard for me to be so trusting like I once was.
And people have like Kristen has a spinoff. She was fired years ago and now she's back and she has a spinoff coming, right?
Yes.
So you kind of get sucked in and you'll do whatever it is because you want to get a spinoff and you want your bar to succeed. So it sounds logical that people would play the game because take a few punches, you're making money.
You're selling your soul, essentially. Right. And this past season really did feel like the first season where I was like, oh my God, I am selling my soul. And it's interesting that you mentioned Kristen because Kristen was just starting to talk about her tumultuous relationship with James and what happened behind closed doors. And then all of a sudden she's presented with this spinoff, which I believe is a way to silence her, to keep that under wraps so that the longevity of Vanderpump Rules can continue.
The realm, protect the realm. So there is an alleged physical abuse. There's a physical abuse allegation with Kristen and James.
Yes.
And people say something was cut out of, and I've gotten people that have called me about other incidents related to that. And you think that a spinoff is good hush money for someone who was fired for like an alleged racist act?
Yeah, I think she was in relation with Stassi and they both got fired at the same time. But I do believe what she has said about James. I know James I've seen him be a violent person. So I have no doubt that what she's saying is true. I hope that one day it will come to light and there will be justice.
It's so crazy. Sometimes reality TV is like the upside down. People are rewarded for bad behavior and you know, negativity. Like I've said, bankruptcy. In no other world, you know, does the boss, the entity, like pull in and highlight addiction, drinking, affairs, bankruptcy, going to jail. Like that's, you know, in other workplaces that's frowned upon. Yes. So reality TV is the upside down, you know, and it's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I haven't watched the show, so I don't know about Kristen and I don't know about the firing, but then to the pendulum to swing and get a spinoff from fired to spinoff is is an interesting swing.
It is interesting because the cast members that were fired and canceled at that time now have this big comeback because this scandal is so salacious that we are the ultimate villains, Tom and I, and now they have a platform to redeem themselves.
Wow. Okay. All right. So we're going to get into the reunion. So, because that's the last time really anyone saw you.
Yeah.
I want to read something to you that you experienced, but I don't know if when you hear it just read to you, and for the audience too, the audience that tuned in, the ratings were astronomical. It's the biggest event that Bravo's had in a really long time. It's a cash cow, millions, tens of millions of dollars, advertisers. It was a ratings juggernaut. The ratings were, I think I read somewhere, total viewers were in like 11 million or something. I mean, how much greater were the ratings during Scandoval than a normal season? And was the show failing? I've heard rumors that the show is failing. It was on autopilot and kind of on the way down. And Scandoval revived it.
Yeah, Alex Baskin went on record himself. He's our executive producer of Vanderpump Rules. And he said the show was going to be canceled after season 10. And if it wasn't for Scandoval, there wouldn't be another season.
Wow. What were the ratings before and what were the ratings after?
I don't know the numbers, but I would be very curious to know because...
Well, it says Vanderpump Rules viewers did not dip out of the season 10 finale. It hit highs for the Bravo show. The episode, which showed the fall, drew a combined audience of 4.1 million viewers on Bravo, On Demand, and the Peacock within 3 days. Of that viewership, oh, wow, 2.4 million in the demo. To give everyone a frame of reference, at the peak of Successful Housewives that I've been on, and of course Beverly Hills does really well, but like Atlanta back in the old days, the heyday would get 4 million, like back in the heyday. But they never got 2.4 million in the demo. That's the sweet spot for Bravo. That's the advertisers. Like the most I've ever seen for Housewives is with a 1 in front of it, with maybe 1 million. That's astronomical, that demo. Wow. Yeah. The target. Yeah. The ratings are, I would be willing to bet that the demo was probably a couple 100,000 when it was failing. And then it went up to 2.4 million. It probably shot up. Oh, wow. Season 10 reached over 11.5 million total viewers. That's bigger than network numbers. That's outrageous. More than 115 million hours of season 10 have been watched to date across both platforms, as well as on small digital apps. Season 10 reached over 11.5. Holy shit. That's insane. 11.5 million. I thought that was like not even true. Wow. That's crazy.
And it's
the most watched cable series of 2023 in the 18 to 49 demo, which is the sweet spot. That's all the advertisers. Bravo has made millions and millions of dollars. This is the realm they must protect. That is, yeah, well, wow. All right, so now we're going to get into it. That's shocking. I'm glad I read that before getting into the reunion. Okay, so it's all, they cashed their checks.
Yes.
They've all got Ferraris. Let's go.
And a lot of people are obviously tuning in for the first time, hearing about Scandoval and rewatching old episodes. A lot of people are rewatching past seasons that I've been
God.
on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course.
Trying to figure out like, oh, did this happen in season 8?
Oh, no. All boats rise with the tide. Totally fair. They're
Yeah.
going back and no one's making money on residuals. It's insane ratings. Wow, Bethenny, wow. Okay. So let's take a breath. I just got jacked up, so I want to get jacked down. I want to read to you from the reunion, the transcript. You were only really on the second of the reunion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because there was a restraining order.
I think technically I was only on the third part of the 3-part reunion.
Okay.
I was in the trailer watching the reunion for the first 2 parts.
Okay. So I watched all of the reunion. That's what I did watch, and a couple of episodes of the scandal. But I watched the reunion and I got my pen and paper and I wrote some things down because I was in shock. And maybe not having watched 10 years of this, I could sort of just see something in a vacuum. And it is in a vacuum because I haven't watched if you've been duplicitous or dishonest or things that people think about you. But I know that you're a human being. I know that you could be my daughter. And I know that Andy Cohen is a parent and Lisa Vanderpump is a parent, and that your castmates are all going to war because they just were on the biggest show of 2023.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm putting all of this in my mind, and I just want to read to you what was said to you in a very short period of time on the reunion. Diabolical, demented, subhuman, shut the fuck up, fuck you, fuck yourself with a fucking cheese grater. You're disgusting, and I wish the worst that can ever happen to a person on you. And then you said, I feel like a piece of shit. And then it was said to you about you, and then Lala says, my love, I think you need to get mentally evaluated. You're truly insane. And then you say, I am getting mentally evaluated. And then it said to you, you're a fucking psychopath. You're a dementor. You're a soul-sucking individual. You're ugly. You're hideous. You're rotten on the inside. Rotten like a moldy piece of fruit. Rotten. You are nothing. You are nothing. You are nothing. Let that sink in, because I know it's hard for you to let other people's thoughts go into your brain because you never have had an original thought of your own. You are nothing. You're dead to everybody now. I'm really sorry. Like, that was actually said to you on national television. And then you said, no one handed you a tissue. I saw Ariana got a tissue. No one handed you a tissue. And then you started to walk off. And Andy said, hold on, come back. What does that mean to you, hearing those words like in a row, like I wrote them down and just read them?
Nobody should ever be spoken to like that. We're all human. We're just navigating through life, and we're bound to make mistakes. I know that I'm not lesser than or even greater than anybody else. That's one of the lessons that I learned at the Meadows. I also, hearing that, it's very difficult in that moment to accept those words that are being thrown at you, and it's much easier to disassociate and just let it fly on over, because who can even accept that and be like, oh, you're throwing this stuff at me, let me look at it, oh yeah, that's all mine. No, like, I can see that those words are filled with hate and are intended to put me down and make me feel like someone who is not worthy of love, who's not worthy of acceptance, or living life. And I know that I am worthy. I think every single person on this earth is worthy of living a life full of love. This might be a little bit of a tangent, but I'm adopted and my mom couldn't give birth. So her sister got pregnant with me and asked my mom if she wanted to have this baby. And so she gave birth to me and gave me to my adopted mom. And I think that I am a miracle to be able to live in this world, this planet we call Earth. And I just can't accept those words.
Good. And, you know, I thought to myself, what must your parents think when they hear that? And like, you'll maybe one day have a daughter or a son, and like, what would they think when this lives out? You know, and I have a daughter, and if I would have killed someone, honestly. So I don't know you and I don't know what happened, but I know you're a person. And I know that I read somewhere that Andy said like about Tom, he is a human being or something. But like, has anyone said that you're a human being?
No, I've been told that I'm subhuman.
So why do you think Andy said, hold on, come back to someone? Been a Bravo executive. He's in a superior role. He's a parent. He's been a producer. And he's 54 years old. He's like, he's a little older than I am, but like, I'm not saying you're a kid, but in this world with producers and a network and 11.5 million viewers, you're the employee. You know, who's the protector of the employee? Where's, you know, you're going to go to HR and say people called me subhuman piece of garbage? Like, where's...
If I did, I don't know. They'd be like, well, that's the nature of the beast.
And then it was said to you, you should leave and never come back. No one wants you. Bye. Ariana gets a tissue. And then sociopath, you have no more friends, you moron. So did someone ask you to come back? Like on the reunion, did you walk away? Did someone ask you to come back?
Honestly, I can't even remember in that moment. I believe I walked away to get a sip of water because when I get nervous, my mouth gets parched. Mm-hmm. And I kind of already knew that I would be emotionally abused by my cast members by going back and doing the reunion.
It was like your penance?
Yeah, it's like I have to own up to it, and I have to like do I deserve this hate? Like, is this hate justified because what I have done is so horrendous?
Well, my therapist, I have a therapist called Dr. Matt Pulowitz. He's a really nice guy. He's very gentle. He's very sweet. He's saved my life in a way that's about another story for another time. But I asked him to watch the reunion. I mean, a grown man who's a professional. And I said to him, will you watch this for me? And will you tell me what you think? He's a psychologist. He's obviously a therapist. And he said something interesting. He said, there's a difference between punishment and abuse. He said, punishment is you're banished from the friend group. No one will speak to you. So let's say a wife's husband cheats. Like, she won't speak to him for 6 months. He's sleeping in the doghouse. Maybe she doesn't want to get a divorce. Maybe a divorce is a punishment. It's a punishment. Mm-hmm. He said, this was not a punishment from everybody. This was abuse, which was very interesting. And he said that the reunion, he said, have I ever witnessed an intervention or a situation where there's a group, like group therapy or like a reunion? He said, in this particular case, usually there's a goal, he said. In this particular case, he said, there was no goal for conflict resolution. Mm-mm. It was just a beat down on a treadmill. He said it was a loop. It was just a constant beating that, you know, was abusive. And I looked up, you know, many studies say that emotional abuse can be as difficult as physical abuse. And I want to get into what then happened, the further abuse that you had online and what that was like after. But the definition of emotional abuse is a way to control by using emotions to embarrass, shame, frighten, criticize, blame, or manipulate another. And verbal aggression, intimidation, manipulation, and humiliation, which unfolds as a pattern of behavior over time that aims to diminish another person's sense of identity, dignity, and self-worth. Do you feel like you've been emotionally abused?
Absolutely. In the moment, I felt like I deserved it, but after taking some time away and seeing things more objectively, absolutely, I was emotionally abused.
And did you feel protected at all by, why do you think, would you have expected a producer to maybe step in and stop, or the host, or Lisa, whose name is on the show? Like, would you have expected someone to be like, she's been beaten and let's stop this?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I feel like a part of a reunion is to hear what people have to say about it. You got yourself into this mess. Now you need to lay in this bed that you made for yourself. What do you have to say for yourself? Like, when people do things that are out of character, it's only human nature to want to know why and what do you have to say? Like, are you remorseful or are you just laughing? But that wasn't, there was no opportunity for me to even speak and share what I was going through and why I found Tom to be this person that I connected to in an emotional way that I didn't connect to anybody else. And what needs were being met in this relationship. And why did I compromise my values when everyone that has seen me since season 5 to season 10 has seen this girl that's reserved, shy, naive, but very sweet. And season 10 was so out of character for me. It just, viewing that alone, it would make me want to know why. What is going on internally with this girl to be involved in this situation? But that was not the space for me.
So, but Dr. Matt was right. There was no room for conflict resolution. That wasn't the goal.
Absolutely not.
Wow, what a part 2 that was. Now, I'm just going to talk a little bit about part 2 because everything I do have to say regarding part 1 and part 2 will be in a reaction video, as well as part 3, because the way they left off, there is going to be a part 3 tomorrow that drops. But, oh my God. So, part 2, it was 28 minutes long, but there was 12 minutes of ads, which of course I took that out for you guys, so you did not have to listen to that. But it wasn't as long as I thought it was going to be, and I think that they're breaking this up into parts to profit as much as they can off of this, and that is just my opinion. But let's get into some of the points that were made that we need to digest from this episode. So, firstly, Rachel is still saying that Scheana assaulted her. She shoved her against a brick wall, she shocked her, and threw her phone in the street that night, and now has a permanent scar. Rachel wonders why she was getting so much vitriol when she was the one that was assaulted by Scheana. I think she's still missing the point, in my opinion. When Tom and Raquel were filming at her apartment, after Scandoval dropped, Raquel asked him why he filmed her without her consent. And for whatever reason, that was cut out of the scene. She does claim, though, that Tom said that he was going to boycott the rest of Scandoval so he could have editing rights to that scene. And she quotes him saying, "I'm not filming unless you take that out." I will give that to Rachel, that there were rumors that that was said and that he had done this, but we were not sure what had took place to make him say and do those things. So I will give her that. That was a rumor that came out, and I do believe her there. Then Bethenny brings up the Bethenny clause. Then we go into how Tom told Rachel during negotiations for season 11 that he was offered a producer credit. Rachel thinks he was rewarded for Scandoval. In my honest opinion, I really cannot see them offer him a producer credit. I don't think that's true, but we will definitely have to wait and see if that is. Then Rachel goes into talking about how she believes that Kristen got a spinoff to silence her to keep her abuse claims about James under wrap. Rachel believes that Kristen has said these things about James and that they are true, and she hopes that one day it will all come to light. I do know and have heard that this spinoff has been planned long before Scandoval ever even came about. They were in the works of production-wise trying to figure out what this show was going to be about, and have finally just started to cast it all out and all of that. I think we will learn more about this now that Rachel is making these claims, and we will learn the truth regarding it. I think that will definitely come to light. But I do not think that Kristen was offered a part on this spinoff to keep her silenced from her talking about what James has done. But that is my opinion regarding that. This is where they then go into the whole ratings talk and all of that. And she makes the comment how Alex Baskin went on record and said that this would have been the last season of Vanderpump Rules if it wasn't for the Scandoval. Now, I have Alex Baskin's interview that he did with the I've Had It girls, and he has talked, yes, about how the ratings were before. And if you would like to check that out, it's here on my channel. It's a great interview, and he does say a lot of cool insider tea about shows and things like that. But he has never said that the show was going to be canceled after season 10 if it wasn't for Scandoval. He never said that. And then Bethenny and Rachel talk about the reunion. Rachel said that no one was standing up for her and she didn't deserve all the hateful words. Now, I will say this. We all know that words can definitely hurt. But when Bethenny was going over what Ariana said during the reunion to Rachel, yes, those words were not kind at all. And Bethenny, who clearly does not know anything about this show, doesn't realize the intense emotions that the victim, Ariana, because she is the victim, was feeling after having her world crumble down completely in front of her and for the entire world to see. She was in a highly intense situation, having to be around Tom and Rachel for the first time, only after weeks of finding out that they were having an affair for 7 months. Ariana has addressed this and said that yes, she was very emotional at the reunion. But I think the point is missed here, where Rachel says no one deserves to be hurt by words. But does she not realize she hurt Ariana by her actions, Ariana would never been highly affected or outraged if an affair never took place between Tom and her. And I will say, Ariana has also said she does not deserve what she had said about her, that she was just highly emotional and highly affected, and I can completely understand. We are all not perfect persons. We all make mistakes. Hey, and Rachel even said that too. She should understand the situation that Ariana was in at that point. I only really feel like she is thinking about herself and missing a lot of points. I will say this. If I was in Rachel's shoes and I had an affair with my best friend's boyfriend, I would totally expect her to be upset and angry, and I do deserve everything she has to say to me because my actions were uncalled for. But guys, that's really it for this part 2. They kept it short. I don't know why they had to make a part 3 when they could have just included part 3 into this, seeing that literally it was like 15 minutes total after you take out the ads. Again, that's just my opinion, and I do feel like Bethenny Frankel is trying to stretch this out as much as she possibly can. And I did see in the comment section yesterday someone saying, well, I hope Rachel's getting paid for this. From what I've been told, she is not getting paid to do this interview. So, that being said, I will be sure to put out part 3 tomorrow for you guys. The second that it drops, I will do what I gotta do to get it out to you. I would love for you all to please leave me a comment down below letting me know what you think about part 2. And I will be featuring what you guys have to say regarding how you feel about this. All opinions are welcomed, and I will be happy to display what everyone's thinking about this whole podcast in a nice video for you guys. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for part 3. Make sure you are subscribed to my channel and you have that bell notification on all, because you don't want to miss when part 3 comes out, and you don't want to miss the reaction video where we go over each part together and give our opinions together. I hope you all have a lovely day, and I will see you again very soon. Bye, everyone.